Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Today, we're going to be reviewing episode 2 of Tamar Get Your Life, the Break Room Breakdown. This episode, we get a little bit more insight into Tamar's and David relationship. So we're going to hear a little bit more about that. And then we also get to see Tamar as she continued to work on her journey to get her new record out. And also we'll be looking at some more of that dream work. What's really going on with that? All right, let's get into it. All right, so the episode starts. It opens similar to last week. Mona Scott sits down with Tamar, checking in with her. She told her she had just got through looking at the tape about her breakthrough that she had through her dream. And Tamar just let her know that, yes, it was a very personal moment for her. And she just kind of wanted to internalize that and process that and keep that kind of private. And Mona Scott shared, she was like, we want the cameras here rolling and catch you when you get through that breakthrough because we know it's going to come through in that music. It's going to be a beautiful process, and we want to make sure that we're capturing it. So it's kind of like she's reinforcing, hey, Tamar, we got the cameras around. We know you got some private moments, but we still want you to let us in. We need to, be in on what's going on in the inside, So that's what I kind of got out of that conversation, as well as that conversation laid the foundation for the conversation of Vince to come up. She also mentioned to Tamar she had seen Vince, and she was like, so how's everything, between, you, David, how's that working? Tamar shares that, she's wanting David to pop the question. She's ready for the question, but she don't want to get married. She said she just don't want to be a girlfriend. She want like a title, but a more official title, I should say. She want to be a fiance, but she really don't want to be married because she don't want to be looked at as somebody's wife right now. She really wants to make her own grounds right now. She's really trying to get in touch with who Tamar is and what Tamar is all about. And then she says with David and Vince, their relationship is but she tried to stay out of it because she don't want to get in the middle of it, so more to come on that. What we see next is Tamar meeting back up with the music producer. Today's his last day in town because he was only in town for 2 days. So he really wants to get Tamar to sing, get some music tracks laid down. So we see them come in, and Tamar, she did a beautiful dance of avoidance. She said, okay, when they came in, she was like, first I gotta go to the bathroom. She ran to the bathroom. She comes back. She said, oh, okay, she's gonna go and cook. Homegirl cooked a full course, multi-side dish meals. It was like Thanksgiving up in there. She was cooking. She cooked one of them good old Sunday dinners. The dream coach was just sitting there like, what is going on? What is Tamar doing? She is wasting so much time. What is she doing? These people got a whole studio built in her home waiting on her, and she is cooking. I mean, she is cooking. But needless to say, they ate, and then as the evening wound down, she got a little bit more ready. She got in there. She did have a little bit more antics that she did. She was like, okay, wait a minute. I don't need everybody watching me. Why is everybody watching me? I was like, I'm a fish in a fishbowl. Y'all watching me. Close your eyes. And then she wanted, let's take some shots. Okay. Yeah, turn the lights down. So they finally got her to a point where she was able to go ahead and sing some of those lyrics and get Jay White what he needs so he could take it back and do whatever work he needs to do on it. We just saw, her still dealing with those nerves with working, not with Vince, her ex-husband, this is her first time working with somebody outside of that and then being on her own. So we got a chance to see her kind of working through, those nerves and working through the anxiety and finally getting there and just doing it, so she avoided it until she couldn't avoid it anymore. A big old procrastinator. And that's what we do when we're afraid to do something that we're unsure of. But then after you do it, you be like, oh, that wasn't such a big deal after all. But she did an amazing job. Vince comes and he drops Logan off, their son, and we noticed that the camera's cut off. And then they put a note on there letting us know, okay, David said if Vince was to appear on this show, he wants no part of it. So that gave us our first insight into what David and Vince and Tamar dynamics is looking like at this current time during taping. So I was like, wow, okay, that's a big wow. And then, of course, through the episode, we see where Tamar has a choreographer coming over who's helping her to work through her scenes or her set for a performance she's going to be planning to do. And during that, she was getting texts. One of the things that I noticed when she first got the text, if you watch her facial expression, you know, like when you get that text from that person, you just love your boo. You get that text from somebody that you know you just, She was all into that text and you could see her smile. She was like, oh, my baby. Okay. And then she was like texting and she's still trying to talk to him and texting. And then one of the things, if you're watching her body language, it kind of change and shift as she's going through those texts. So it's telling me those text messages was saying some stuff that didn't sit well with her or that kind of made her, you know, a little uncomfortable. Even saw at one point as she was responding to the text, she was wiping her eyes. She had a like she was holding it back. To me, it looked like maybe there was a tear coming or about to come because she was like, wait a minute, what's going on? So then she tells the guy, the choreographer, look, you know, I need a minute. I gotta go and handle something. And then we see her go downstairs. We hear the production. They're like, David, he's in the house. He's on the move. So they get downstairs. We see David. He's in the room. She goes in the room. Next thing we know, David, he's out the room coming out with his bags and he's gone up the stairs. Like, oh, okay, all right, what's really going on? So then we come to find out he's upset. He's upset. And then him and Tamar gets together the next day and she goes to meet him for a sit down and homegirl came ready for battle. She had her fatigue on. She was ready. She was like, okay, I don't know what's getting ready to go on, but let me get ready for this conversation. So she had to sit down with David, and during the course of the conversation, what we realized is David is upset because he finds out that Vince has been in the house and he considers Tamar house his house, and he says they share, you know, living quarters. He stayed at her house 3 days. She stayed at his house 4 days. So it's like 3 days on 4 days. And they consider each other's living quarters like each other. And so he didn't feel comfortable with Vince being all in his house, which is boundaries. So that's another thing that we'll pull out of this, some boundaries. He was like, he feels like he's uncomfortable with Vince being all up in his house or their house. Without, you know, him knowing or without his permission. He felt disrespected and he felt like Tamar should have handled that. So he got upset and he had left. So during his sit down, he was like, you know, you need to have a conversation with Vince. That's something you need to do. And Tamar was like, no, I don't want to get in man business. You need to have a conversation with him. You know, I don't want to be in the middle of it. So then she said that she didn't like, you know, Logan being caught up in the middle of it because Logan didn't want him to leave. And then he had a conversation with Logan, and Logan was like, you know, he didn't think that he was coming back. And she was like, oh, wow, you know, that really was very impactful on her son. And she said, I bet you won't do that again. So, you know, when kids are involved, you know, it's more than just the two people in that relationship that's dealing with whatever emotions is going on. And then Tamar was sharing a little bit more about the dream work, and she was telling David, you know, maybe this should be something you might want to look into. And David reiterated that he wasn't really comfortable with the dream work because he don't understand, you know, what is source from the power or the breakthroughs or the work that's going on. He wants to know what is the source of that energy that's doing it, because he said he's a Christian and he want to make sure that if it's from God, but if it's not of God, then he don't want no parts of it. And Tamar was like, you know, just because he don't understand it doesn't necessarily mean that everything you don't understand is not of God or from God. So he needs to have a sit down with Goldie so he can find out what the heck she's really doing. So then from there, they end with Tamar saying, okay, you can have a conversation with Goldie, but you need to have a conversation with Vince first. Let's get that taken care of. And she also told him that Vince is open to sitting down, having a conversation with him. So she's like that, the doors are open there. Now moving on to a little bit more serious part, and the last portion we'll talk about in this video is the dream work. The dream work. So Tamar had called Goldie to let her know that she had another dream, and Goldie sat down with her to try to figure out what was going on with her dream. She shared in this dream, her and David, they were like in a house that was, I guess it was their home, but it's not one of the homes that they live in now. And she said her sister was there and his niece was there. And of course, she got a good relationship with the sister that was there. And while they was there, she says, the niece says to David, why don't you tell her? And he was like, tell her what? And she wanted him to tell her about, she said it was something about two girls or whatever. I don't know. It was another dream where she was feeling like some insecurities because there was two girls there, or two girls, and then come to find out it wasn't really about the two girls. It was something to do with Ellen DeGeneres. And she wakes up from the dream and she's upset with David in real life about the dream, asking him who were those girls in a dream. How many of y'all woke up and gave it to your man because of a dream you had? Like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? Tell me. Something ain't right. So anyway, they had that said that Goldie tell her that dream was showing some betrayal. So there was some family secrets, and then betrayal was the two things that stood out to Goldie from what Tamar was sharing. And as she was telling Tamar, she was like, the same way we went through that exercise that we did with the Tyler Perry, I want to do something similar to that with you. And Tamar was like, okay. And then Logan comes in, and my dream coach, she kind of was getting a little annoyed because she was like, every time I'm working with Tamar and we're about to have a breakthrough, there's always, I love Logan, I love him, but there's always a distraction. But that's called being a mom. When you're a mom, you're going to have kids, you're going to have stuff happens. You just got to roll with it. You got to be, flexible. Tamar, she gets Logan situated. And then as her and the life dream coach get back together, the dream coach was like, I have an ideal. And it is going to be a great ideal. Normally all of the work we're doing is internal, so what we want to do is we want to, do it external. So instead of imploding, it's going to be exploding. What we can do. And Tamar was like, wait a minute, whoa, what are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? And she says, be so much fun. We can go to a break room, and when we go to the break room, you can bring stuff. It's gonna be so much fun. And Tamar was like, wait a minute, why I gotta go break stuff? I'm not angry, I'm not upset. No, I'm not down with this. Why am I supposed to be taken back to this space? How come every time I'm on a show, somebody want me to be angry about something? I'm not angry about anything. I don't want to fight nobody. What is really going on? So she got really upset about that. And her producer, he kind of got uneasy because he was trying to calm her down. And she was like, no, the show was stupid. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not breaking nothing. I don't know why y'all. No. And then he goes, because Tamar goes to her room, close the door, and then he has a little side conversation with Goldie. And Goldie was like, well, some of this work, this work is internal, it's sacred, it's very personal, it's in her inner being. And he was like, well, okay, this is not what we signed up for. We got to be able to see. Let me go have a conversation with Tamar. So when he goes to have a conversation with Tamar, his conversation was, Okay, Tamar, I need you to go and get back on camera. Y'all mic me up. We need to go get back on camera because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to tear black woman down or whatever, anything like that. He says, I'm going to go and talk to Tamar. Mic me up. So they mic'd him up. And he told Tamar, he said, I need you to come out here. Let's talk. Tamar came out. She was like, yeah, what's going on? He was like, I need you to clear up something for me. We got to go back and get back on camera because I don't want it to seem like I am trying to tear anybody down. I don't want to be portrayed that way because that is not my intent. If I'm going to work on this show, I need to be comfortable with what I'm shooting and how I am portrayed in the process of this. And she says to him, I don't think that is you. I don't think it is you. I think it's, this network. They want me to be that same old character that we've seen before. An image that she's trying to get away from. She's trying to rebrand herself. And she don't want to be seen as angry. She don't want to be seen as someone that's always in the midst of some kind of turmoil. Or she don't want to be seen as somebody that's angry, upset, going off. She don't want to be seen as that. And she says, I'm not saying that it's you. I feel like it's the network. It's the network. They're doing what they always do. They want to see me act a certain way. They want to see me act a plum fool. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We had a production meeting, and that came up in the production meeting, the break room or the breakout room, breakdown room, whatever. And I told them then I was not on board with that. And then y'all going to bring that up. So he was like, okay, I just need you to get on camera and, just clear me. He just want to be clear. I want to be in the all clear. So they went out there and she said what she said. She was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I think it's stupid. It don't make sense. Why would I do it? I'm not fighting anybody. How y'all haven't seen me fight anybody? I ain't fighting nobody from the real. I'm not fighting anybody. I'm not fighting my husband. I'm not fighting this. I'm not fighting that. I'm not fighting my sisters. I'm not fighting nobody. I don't want to fight nobody. I just want to love. I want to heal. I don't want to break nothing. And then he was like, well, we just didn't, all of the work you're doing is internal and we can't see it and we don't want the show to be boring. So me and my team, we came up with, that was one of the ideals. And then she was like, well, first of all, anything involving Tamar Esteem Braxton is not going to be boring. Which that's true. Tamar do not do no boring TV. She is just an entertainment. She's TV go. So we already know that. And then she said, second of all, why didn't y'all just talk to me about what will work for me? I'm an artist. Why not show my healing, show my journey through my art? That's what I thought they were doing. I thought with the music that the music was gonna capture, her healing process. Goldie was like, yes, see, that's what I was telling him. I said that too. And I'm like, Goldie, girl, come on. You were sitting there trying to pump her up for her. Like, it's gonna be so much fun. So Goldie, don't do that, Goldie. Don't do that. So, and the show ends there. So we're going to pick up from there next week because we're going to see, a lot more just kind of continue to evolve, especially, with Tamar and David's relationship. We're going to see that continue to grow. And then we're going to also see the production and Tamar and the struggle. And also with the dream coach, there's going to be some more challenges there as the show progresses. Again, this is a 6-week show, so we're already 2 weeks down. So things are already heating up. So, of course, as we promised, we need some takeaways. So two main takeaways from this episode that we can take. One is that avoidance. Things that we're avoiding. Being mindful and conscious of things that we are avoiding doing, whether it's from fear, whether it's from an insecurity, knowing what that is, and then facing it head on. Because once you face that fear, once you face that thing that, you have reservation, you realize is not as big as it may seem. 2 is boundaries. Boundaries. Okay, so we saw that in Tamar's relationship, for Tamar and Vince, there's no boundaries there in regards to when he comes and drop Logan off, you know, what is comfortable for him to do. David was upset because he said last year when they went out of town that Vince was in the house for 4 days and he didn't know at the time. So it seems like, you know, some boundaries should be set up there as far as, okay, you drop them off at the door. You don't have to tuck them in. You don't need to tuck them in. Not at my house. Tuck them in at your house. You know, so just having some boundaries there. And then as far as with David and Vince, there should be some boundaries in regards to, okay, Vince is a part of Logan's life and my life, and that's just the way that it is, and it'll be that way for the rest of our lives. So for him to say, I don't want to tape if Vince is on tape, okay, that's not for him. This show is about Tamar and all parts and the aspect of her life. So there should be some boundaries set there. And then even with the coaching and production, if you all know that that's something she's not comfortable with, and you as a dream coach, life coach, you should respect that boundary. Production should respect that boundary. If you know it's something that she's uncomfortable with doing, find another way. In our lives, we just got to make sure whether we're in a relationship, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's your homegirl, whether whatever, your children, that there's clear set boundaries and the communication of that, because that's what's going to help, you know, everybody to be on the same page. And then also, here's my personal thing as well. I feel like if you're in a relationship, you ended a relationship, like ex-husband or something like that, and you have a shared child, I feel like that conversation when it comes to boundaries in regards to when you come and drop the kid off and what's okay to happen in the home, in your home, I feel like that conversation would be best had coming from the person that was in a relationship with them. At least that initial conversation, you know. So that's my personal thoughts. I would love to hear what you think. So in the comment below, let me know. Let me know, what do you think about the boundaries? You know, should there be boundaries discussed between partners? And if so, who should be having that conversation with Vince? Should Tamar have that conversation, or should David? And if so, why? And then as far as with the coaching assignment or the dream work assignment, you know, did Tamar overreact about the break room? Or was that a valid concern? And last but not least, is this record ever going to get complete? All right, just let me know down below. Cannot wait to get with you all again next week. See you on the next video. Thank you so much. Love you guys.